So when we're talking about equality, humanly speaking, it's just not possible. I mean, you could even go to the car lot, two people with the same amount of money, buy the exact same vehicle, which they can't buy the same one, but they buy two of the same models, and one of them drive off the lot and get 4 blocks down the road, and the computer system just fry right out from underneath them, and the other person get 400,000 miles off of the same model. There's just no way to balance that out. There's no way to say, well, that's not fair. It's fair. It's nothing to do with it. There's no such thing as equality. There's too many things involved in that. What we need to do is back up and say, this is where I am. This is what I have to work with. This is all I'm going to give an account for. I am not giving an account for your life. You're not giving an account for mine. And realize there are people that are given greater opportunities. Does God have anything to say about that? Absolutely He does. To whom much is given, much will be required. It's not, so I want to just go back in the scriptures and look at what has God done for you and I to give us equal opportunity. Because I am convinced that there's no such thing as equal opportunity on this planet, humanly speaking. God is the only one who has given it, and He is the only one who has maintained it, and He is the only one that can continue to maintain equal opportunity for all people. Because it simply isn't there. Some of you, I mean, you want to play sports. I wanted to play sports when I was younger. First of all, it cost $20 to play baseball. Hey, Mom, can I play baseball? You got $20? Nope, then I guess you can't. So I went and got the $20. I should have had a little more of the conversation with her because $20 wasn't the only thing. It was, well, you can't play on Wednesday night. And I was, okay, can't do that. So pretty soon it just wasn't going to happen. But I finally had my own choice and my own to get in. And do you realize there were people on the teams that I played on that I was trying my best to get certain positions, and I was working hard at it. I was never getting those positions because their dad was a coach, their uncle was a coach, their big brother was the star, back in the 60s. They had a name, they had somewhere they came from, and it simply didn't matter. Even if you were good enough, you weren't very rarely going to get the opportunity to show how good you were because there was other people who had already been guaranteed those spots. It's been like that ever since man sinned against God. Humanity's been corrupt. You know what? I'll be honest with you. There have been a lot of times in life, you go certain places, you just don't fit in. You just know you don't fit in. And you got to find some way to deal with that. Now, you can get bitter, you get all twisted up, go poke holes in your body, cut yourself, scar yourself, tattoo yourself, walk around, change everything you could possibly change to show that you're not happy with everything, but you've only damaged yourself. You haven't done anything to help yourself. So we need to have a different view of what equality is. And our expectations need to change. Again, the only way to do that is go back to a biblical perspective. I see the devil trying to drag us into a fight that's not really the fight. It's really not it. And if you want to resolve something, you have to understand what the issue really is. It takes time to resolve problems. If a relationship is having a problem, if you're having a problem with a friend, spouse, parent-child, employee, fellow worker, employer, whoever, it doesn't matter. You need to understand what the issue is. You need to sit down and say, what is the problem? What is our issue? Where's our conflict? Identify what that is, because if you don't identify what the problem is, then you can't come up with a solution. And we can't just keep, shooting at the dark here. And so we need to understand what the true issues are. And I really do believe when all of this bubbles down and it's all sifted out and revealed for what it is, it truly will come down to this very simple issue. I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm just asking you to think about this. It will all come down to one thing for you. God has a very specific plan for you and for your life. He has a very specific plan for you. He is able to perform that plan with your cooperation. If you don't get involved in it, He's not doing it for you. And there's a real enemy who is trying everything that he can do to pull you away from what God has for you.
That's good.
That is the issue. Nothing else. Anything else you try to fix or manipulate or change without addressing that first will just take up the rest of your life, and when it's all over, you will fail miserably. And so I'm just saying that to say it's not about equality today. It's not about race. It's not about culture. It's not about economics. It's not about all of that. It is about our Creator bringing you into existence for a purpose, and you finding out what that purpose is, and then working together with Him to see that fulfilled in your life. If you don't believe it, you can join millions who haven't. But I'm telling you, if we could roll back the cover over hell, there's not one unbeliever in there now. And they would scream, man, you're being deceived, you're being deceived, you're being deceived, you're being deceived. But I don't think we need to go to that extent. If it took that, God would do it. What you need to do is roll back the cover of your own heart. Learn how to know yourself. Roll back and see. God has not left Himself without witness. And if you would sincerely say, I don't believe He exists, you could take that issue into your heart and find out the reason you don't believe He exists is because the idea of His existence goes against what you want. And you would rather He not exist so that you can accomplish what you want. And by doing that, you're failing, and you're failing miserably. You're robbing yourself. So I'm just going to tell you, forget about equality. There is such thing as fair treatment, right? Fair is even it's hard to understand fair anymore. I don't know what fair, F-A-I-R, means to most people. Usually when we hear people talk about fair today, what they're saying is you're not being fair, meaning you're not giving me whatever I want, whenever I want, however I want. So we don't even know what a fair means anymore. What is equality? Define that. Define what equality is. What do you expect? And when we get down to the base issues, it's going to come down to God has given you an opportunity to be everything He's designed you to be. You're not going to give an account for another person, give an account for yourself. He has not made it impossible for you to succeed in his economy.